Something is happening inside your body right now, not a disease, not a disorder, not something that would show up on a medical scan or register in the blood work that a doctor orders in the ordinary course of a routine checkup. Something else entirely. Something that millions of people around the world are describing simultaneously in their own words, without knowing that millions of others are describing exactly the same thing. A change in the way the body feels from the inside, a shift in sensitivity that has no adequate medical explanation, a heightening of perception that the ordinary frameworks of health and illness simply do not account for, a physical experience of something that defies every category available for understanding what the human body is and what it is actually capable of. The Pleiadians say, this is not a coincidence. They say it is the solar flash, not as a future event, not as something approaching from a comfortable distance that can still be observed and prepared for at leisure, but as something that, in 2026, has already begun to arrive, already begun to move through the physical systems of those who are awake enough, open enough, and aligned enough to receive what it carries, and what it carries is changing your body in ways that no medical framework yet has the language to describe. Stay with this all the way to the end, because what the Pleiadians reveal about what is happening inside you right now and what it means for who you are in the process of becoming is not just information, it is a transmission, and the receiving of it is itself part of the process it describes. Before we go further, something important needs to be said. The Pleiadians are not describing a medical phenomenon. They are not offering a diagnosis or a treatment or a framework that replaces the wisdom of qualified healthcare professionals. If you are experiencing physical symptoms that concern you, please consult a doctor. That is always the right response to genuine physical concern. What the Pleiadians are describing is something that operates alongside the biological reality of the body. Something that, as the science of the next several decades develops, will find increasing confirmation in the instruments that science builds to detect what is currently below the threshold of ordinary measurement, but something that, right now, is most accurately described not in the language of medicine, but in the language of frequency, of energy, and of the relationship between cosmic transmissions and the living systems that receive them. With that understanding established, here is what the Pleiadians say is happening. There is a teaching that runs through nearly every ancient tradition that has ever taken seriously the relationship between cosmic energy and human consciousness. It says in various forms and various languages that the human body is not simply a biological machine, it is a receiver, an instrument of extraordinary sensitivity that, when properly tuned, is capable of perceiving and processing frequencies of energy that the ordinary frameworks of modern science have not yet found adequate ways to measure or describe. The ancient Egyptians built their entire cosmological system around this understanding. The Vedic traditions of India developed vast and extraordinarily precise maps of the human energy system. The Chinese medical traditions, with their understanding of meridians and energy flow, have been working with this reality for thousands of years. Indigenous traditions around the world, in their various languages and their various frameworks, have consistently described the human body as something in relationship with the energy of the cosmos. And across all of these traditions, across all of these frameworks, one understanding appears again and again with remarkable consistency. The sun is not just a source of heat and light, it is a transmitter of frequencies, of information, of something that, when received by a human body that is prepared to receive it, does not merely warm the skin, but penetrates to the level of consciousness itself, changes what is perceivable, shifts what is possible. The Pleiadians have been transmitting about this capacity for longer than most people have been paying attention, and what they have consistently said across many decades of teachings that have come through many different channels in many different parts of the world is that this receiving capacity of the human body is not fixed. It is not a static characteristic that remains the same throughout a lifetime. The acceleration is happening, and the body is responding. Here is what that response actually looks like. The first thing that is happening is what many describe as a heightening of physical sensitivity. Things that were once background, the feeling of sunlight on skin, the sensation of certain foods in the body, the physical impact of different environments, the energetic quality of different spaces are becoming more present, more noticeable, more impossible to ignore. Some people describe this as a kind of sensory amplification, as though a dial that was once set to a moderate level has been turned up. Not to an uncomfortable extreme in most cases, but to a greater precision, a greater awareness of the physical experience of being alive. Crowded spaces that were once merely busy now feel energetically heavy in ways that cannot be fully explained by the ordinary noise and visual stimulation they contain. Certain foods that were once eaten without noticeable effect now produce reactions that range from subtle to pronounced. Natural environments, forests, coastlines, open land, now carry a quality of nourishment that feels almost physical in its effect. The Pleiadians say this is the body becoming more responsive to frequency. As the solar transmissions intensify, the nervous system is recalibrating, developing a finer sensitivity, learning to detect and respond to inputs that were always present, but previously below the threshold of ordinary awareness. This is not weakness, it is refinement, the development of a more precise and more useful instrument. The second thing that is happening is a change in sleep patterns and the quality of the dream experience. Many people in 2026 are reporting that their sleep has become different in ways that are difficult to articulate, not simply disrupted, though disruption is part of it, but qualitatively different. The hours of sleep feel more active, more purposeful, as though something important is being accomplished during those hours that has nothing to do with the ordinary biological functions of rest and restoration. The dream state has become more vivid, more emotionally layered, more informationally dense. Dreams carry a quality of significance that persists into waking life in ways that feel meaningful rather than merely interesting. Some dreams have the quality of experiences rather than narratives, a felt reality that the dreaming self inhabits with a fullness that the waking self rarely achieves. And the early morning hours, particularly between 2 and 4, carry a quality of unusual alertness that does not feel like insomnia. It feels like being called back to a particular kind of awareness. Like the inner life has something it needs to do that the ordinary demands of the day do not allow space for. A quality of wakefulness that, in the stillness of those early hours, can feel more like genuine presence than most of the moments of ordinary waking life. The Pleiadians describe this as the body processing during sleep what the waking mind does not yet have the capacity to process consciously. The solar frequencies being received during the day are being integrated during the night. The dream state is serving a function that goes beyond ordinary psychological processing, and the early morning wakefulness is a natural expression of a system that is working harder than usual, integrating more than usual, and becoming, day by day and night by night, more than it was. The third thing that is happening is what many describe as unusual energy fluctuations throughout the day and week. Days of extraordinary vitality, a sense of aliveness and clarity and capacity that seems to exceed what the ordinary circumstances of a particular day would generate, followed by days of deep fatigue that does not respond to ordinary rest or caffeine or any of the usual remedies for tiredness. Periods of remarkable focus and creative availability, followed by periods of heaviness and difficulty that seem equally disproportionate to what is actually occurring. Many people interpret these fluctuations as signs of something wrong. The Pleiadians offer a different frame entirely. The energy system of the body, they say, is not unlike a complex electrical system being upgraded. The old circuitry must be taken offline in sections while new connections are established and new pathways are built. The fatigue is the system resting during installation. The unusual vitality is the system coming back online with expanded capacity. The fluctuation between these states is the natural rhythm of a renovation that is occurring not in any single dramatic event, but in a steady series of incremental upgrades. This is not dysfunction, it is renovation. And the renovation, while it is occurring, produces exactly the kind of irregular energy experience that many people are noticing. The fourth thing that is happening is an increased sensitivity to what enters the body. Foods that were once tolerated without difficulty are now producing reactions, not necessarily dramatic, allergic reactions, but a growing awareness of how different foods affect the quality of the inner experience. Some foods that were once consumed without thought now produce a heaviness or a fogging of the mental clarity that was previously not noticed. Others that may have been avoided out of habit or preference are being sought out with a growing sense that they genuinely support what the body is trying to do. Environments are also more noticeable. Places that carry heavy energetic histories or that contain dense concentrations of stress and conflict now register in the body of a sensitive person with a clarity that can be quite striking. And natural environments, wherever the natural world has been allowed to remain relatively intact, now carry a quality of genuine physical restoration that goes beyond the ordinary psychological benefits of spending time outdoors. Relationships and conversations are producing stronger and more precise energetic responses. Some interactions leave a sensitive person feeling genuinely drained in ways that go beyond ordinary social fatigue. Others seem to generate energy rather than deplete it. The body is developing what might be called energetic discernment, a growing intelligence about what serves the system and what suppresses it. Listen to this discernment. It is not hypersensitivity in any clinical sense. It is a growing intelligence. The body knows what it needs in order to complete what is being asked of it. The fifth thing that is happening is the appearance of what some describe as physical sensations without obvious cause. Warmth that appears in the chest without any external explanation. a tingling or vibrating quality that moves along the spine during moments of stillness or genuine insight, pressure at the crown of the head or at the center of the forehead that comes and goes without accompanying pain, a sense of subtle movement or vibration in the body that has no ordinary physical cause. These sensations vary considerably between individuals. Not everyone experiences all of them. Some people experience them frequently and intensely. Others notice them only rarely, in moments of particular stillness or significance. And the interpretation of what they mean is something that each individual must bring their own discernment to. The Pleiadians describe them as the signature of energetic activity occurring in systems of the body that conventional medicine does not yet fully map. The energy centers that many traditions describe, the channels through which the finer frequencies move through the body. As these systems are activated and reorganized by the rising solar transmissions, their activity produces physical sensations that are real, that are not imagined, and that carry information about the process that is underway. If you experience any physical symptoms that concern you, any sensations that are accompanied by pain, or that interfere with your ability to function normally, please consult a qualified healthcare professional. The sensations described above are not, in themselves, medical events. But anything that genuinely concerns you deserves proper medical evaluation. The sixth thing that is happening is a shift in the experience of time. Many people in 2026 describe a feeling that time itself is moving differently than it used to, not consistently faster or consistently slower, but with a different quality. Some experiences stretch in ways that feel almost timeless, a moment of genuine connection, a particularly vivid encounter with natural beauty, a moment of unexpected inner clarity, carrying a depth and a fullness that the ordinary passage of measured time cannot account for. Other experiences blur and compress in ways that suggest the ordinary linear framework for understanding duration is becoming less adequate as a description of actual experience. The ordinary progression from past to present to future feels less solid than it once did. The present moment, conversely, feels more available, more vivid, more real, more capable of being genuinely inhabited rather than merely passed through on the way to something else. The Pleiadians say this is the body beginning to relate to time differently, not through any conscious decision or deliberate practice, but through the natural consequence of a rising frequency interacting with the systems that produce the human experience of temporal duration. As the frequency rises, the pull of the present moment strengthens, and the dominance of linear time in organizing experience gradually, quietly, noticeably loosens. The seventh thing that is happening, and the one that the Pleiadians say is the most significant sign of genuine physical transformation, is the emergence of what many describe as a new quality of inner knowing, a clarity that arrives before reasoning has had time to assemble its case, a certainty about people, situations and choices that operates faster and more reliably than the analytical mind, a sense of perceiving what is true directly, without the mediation of thought, not as a vague feeling that might or might not be accurate, but as something that carries the same quality of solidity and reliability that the most carefully reasoned conclusions carry. This is not imagination. It is not the projection of desire onto uncertainty and calling the result intuition. It is a genuine expansion of the body's capacity for intelligence. The solar frequencies carry information, and the body, as it becomes more capable of receiving those frequencies, becomes more capable of accessing the information they carry. The Pleiadians want to close this transmission with something that is not more information, but a direct communication. If you have been experiencing any of the things described today, if several of these 7 signs have felt like descriptions of your own actual experience rather than abstract possibilities, you are not in medical crisis. You are not experiencing the onset of something pathological. You are not losing your mind or your stability or your ability to function in the world. You are in biological evolution. What your body is going through right now is the most extraordinary thing a human body has been asked to do in the current era of human history. It is being upgraded, not by any external intervention, but by the interaction of rising solar frequencies with the dormant potential encoded in your own biology. The potential that was always there, waiting for exactly these conditions to arrive. Take care of your body during this time, not with fear, but with genuine, loving attention. Rest when it asks for rest. Give it what it genuinely needs rather than what is merely convenient. Spend time in natural environments which provide a particular kind of support for the process that is underway. Choose stillness over stimulation as often as you reasonably can. Reduce your exposure to the things that the body's growing discernment is identifying as suppressive, and trust it. Your body knows more than it has ever been given credit for. And in 2026, it is beginning to demonstrate exactly how much more that actually is. Take what resonates, leave what does not, and trust yourself completely to know the difference. This content is offered for spiritual reflection, symbolic interpretation, and personal insight only. It is not presented as scientific fact, medical advice, or a prediction of real-world events. The narration in this video is generated using artificial intelligence voice technology. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional regarding any physical or medical concerns. Please use your own discernment and personal judgment when engaging with this material.